Milo 2, brought to you by the best names in the business and a whole bunch of my mates helping out. Whew, well, a lot of progress on Milo 2. Heaps and heaps and heaps of progress. First of all, you can see Richard has really hooked into the wiring. It looks like there's wires everywhere, but in actual fact, it's just a little bit off connecting everything up and shrink tubing, and we're away. In fact, he's done that already in a whole lot of places. Moving back over here, Jason's done an awesome job on the flooring. Door cards. The guys have made up some door cards that are just beautiful. Once again, this was Richard's idea, and it's lovely. Now, those door cards are also hiding the new winders from Terrain Tamer. So we've got all new mechanism in here, and it's beautiful. New felts, all done. Looks lovely. Just needs a couple of little things and it'll be finished. The dash panel, wow, looking really good. Look at that. It's getting there, guys. It's really getting there. I caught Richard cleaning this up the other day. I said, no, mate, no, just leave it. You know, like, I'll do that in the traffic or something at some stage. It's no big deal, you know. But he's such a fastidious workman. I mean, it's all balanced. It looks beautiful. Okay, the chassis been painted. That was Jason. Awesome job, awesome job. And it's made it look really good too, you know. With everything else looking so good, it's kind of hard not to do that. Have a look at this. The wiring has been almost completed up behind the seat. Now, this is the major fuse blocks and the switches to switch on canopy power, switch between batteries, all that kind of stuff. It's all in there behind the seat. Wow, there's so much going on here, it's kind of hard to know. This is what happens when you get a bunch of guys who are really good at their stuff, who love playing with trucks and who like just hanging out together, to be honest. We're really bowling into this, it's awesome. You know, building trucks, from the ground up especially, is quite often a case of one step forwards and two steps back. I managed to scrounge up half a dozen split rims, and this is the worst of them, because I wanted to put it on splitties. You know, I wanted that classic 40 look on splitties. I like splitties. I grew up with splitties. I had them all on my tour trucks and everything else. But these splitties are too far gone, okay? This is the worst of them. By the time we've wire brushed all this out, wire brushed everything else, sandblasted it, whatever, we're still going to wind up with very uneven surfaces. And from the sheer practical point of view of not wanting to have flat tyres, it's not a feasible option to run them with the splitties. If I had a set of brand new splitties, it might be different. Even then, you'd have to wonder how long you're going to hang on to them, because split rims were always the choice because they were easy to repair, but these days, with a good tubeless tyre repair kit, who needs it? Now, there's another issue with splitties that a lot of people don't understand, and I've lived through it a couple of times now, and that is splitties run tubes, right? So you can't use tubeless tyre repair kit. Bit of an issue, but it's easy to knock the rim off, fix the tube, put it all back together. Why are you fixing the tube? Probably because something came loose and was rubbing against it. Doesn't take anything at all. I've seen instances where there was a sticker on the inside of the tyre, and that was enough to ball up over thousands of Ks and rub a hole in the tube. For a tube to work properly, it's got to be perfectly clean in a perfectly clean and smooth environment. There are ways around this, taping rims, doing all sorts of things, but it just reaches a stage where you start going, no, you know, I've got this beautiful truck that's new everywhere else and I'm gonna, no. So I did what it took me quite a few years to learn with Milo, and I got onto me mate Chris and Jared over at Dynamic, and this is what came. How much better is this, eh? These are Dynamic steel rims. Yes, they're just beautiful, to be honest. And of course, it means we can hump in with some wider rubber almost straight away. No issues at all with flat tyres caused by failure of the gear. For me, that's a really big thing, because I know from the last time that I fitted Dynamics, which is still on Milo, I've had two sets over probably the last 12 or 13 years. And I only changed them because I went up a tyre size. Well, a rim size basically, so I had to get some new rims to fit some different tyres. Otherwise, the original ones are still doing fine. In fact, the original ones are doing fine. They're on the mustard truck, thank you very much. What makes these rims different? First of all, it's a steel rim. Man, alloy rims have got a whole lot of advantages, and they look cool, and they're light, and that's about it as far as serious bush bashing goes. Because even though they're so strong these days, they still, when they get hammered, they fall to bits. You can't straighten them back out. Steel rims you can hook in with a railway size sleeper hammer, or anything for that matter. I've done it with a car jack, and you can peel it back if it takes a good knock. Why would it take a good knock? Because you're running around on low pressure tyres. Why are you running 15, 14, 13 in your tyres? Because you're having fun. You're somewhere where you need to do stuff like that, which is why, you know, steel rims are the #1 go. Now, another trap for newcomers. Don't buy on price alone when it comes to steel rims, all right? Because there's a couple of big traps, especially at the moment. There's a whole bunch of companies in certain places in the world making steel rims, and they tend to make them real cheap. So the steel isn't as thick as the Dynamics. It's about 1 mil thinner, and that's just to begin with. The biggest difference is that because these guys are making cheap rims, what they do is they take that plate, and when they're punching out the shapes and the gaps and everything else, they punch through the wheel holes at the same time, you know, the stud holes, okay? And then they weld it into the rim. And then they send the rim to you, and you chuck it on your truck, and your truck goes like this forever. Or maybe it doesn't, but you'll sort of wonder to yourself, how come I got, you know, it's come back from the tyre place and it's got half a kilo of lead hanging off one side. It's because the holes aren't perfectly central. The difference, guys, the difference, take it from someone who's done it all at some stage when it comes to rims, is amazing, absolutely amazing. Dynamics, as far as I know, are the only rims that do the process properly, which is to build the whole rim and then centre it and drill the holes through. So they're in exactly the right place. Not a little bit, you know, depending on the welder, whether he had a good day and 3 coffees, but purely based on engineering, okay? So build the rim, drill the holes, comes back perfect. Better coating, so you're not slapping a coat of paint on it with a brush in 2 or 3 years when it rusts up. And most importantly, better surfaces, smoother coatings, less chance of a flat over the long term. Since I started using Dynamics, I've had 2 flats in 17 years, and I can prescribe both of those to horrible little tree roots, okay, on very low pressures, which would have cut holes in anything at some stage. So there you go, guys. The truck was looking so good, and it is so good, that there was just no way I could whack it on a set of reconditioned old rims, even though in my mind I kind of wanted to do that because it's an old truck. At the end of the day, I've just stepped straight to the top shelf with a bunch of dynamic rims. And you know what? I've kind of got to do this because this truck has become very much a top shelf product all the way through. What sort of tyres are we going to tuck on them? You'll find out later. Hey, we've got a big day planned. Tray fitting is going to be happening. Now, that's really awesome, you know. It's looking beautiful. But before we even get around to that, I've got to show you this bit of kit. It's just showed up. This is Engle's latest fridge freezer slide. Now, you know, I love me Engle fridges. You got to have a fridge that doesn't break down. And if it doesn't break down for 30 or 40 years, that's even better. I mean, how long does a bloke want to drink cold beer for? You're right, at least 30 or 40 years. Get a load of this. It's just got so many great features. They're fully sealed bearings. It's full steel construction. It's powder coated. But you can just feel it in the operation. I mean, this is, look, one clip operation, really positive lock. There's no way you're going to interfere with that. You're not going to have your fridge falling out in the middle of nowhere. I just love this. I mean, you know, we wanted it for reasons that you'll see later on, but when it showed up, I just couldn't believe what a beautiful bit of kit it is, how well thought out it is. It's got turnbuckles. These go on the fridge so you can permanently mount the fridge in there. It suits a bunch of different angles, the 40, the 35, the 45, 45C, the combi fridge. I've got this box here to remind me of all the things it'll do. But the other thing is, with this fridge slide, if you wanted, you could very easily convert it to a generator slide. It'd take the weight all day long. I mean, you could use it for toolboxes. Anything that you want to come in and out and do it for the next 50 years, this is the bit of kit. In fact, I don't think you'd wear it out in 50 years, to be honest. It's just beautiful. You know, when something good shows up and it's so complete, a bolt kit to make sure it's mounted in, the turnbuckles, it's just all here, you know. It's going to be probably the easiest part of the whole job, and I love it. In fact, I love it so much, I'm wondering whether we even need to fit a tray. Maybe we could just put the slide here in the middle of the back of the truck, and that way all I'd have to do is carry around cold beer. Don't have to worry about anything else. Is that going to work? Well, seeing as if Hylton's done such a nice job painting the tray, we'll be putting it on. Nice bit of kit. If you're serious about your off-roading and you really are looking for the best, well, there's your best combination, you know. Stick an angle on one of these slides and don't worry about anything. You'll be the guy who's seriously sucking down some cold beer. Good on you guys. Get a load of this. Tub's just come back from Hylton, okay. Now, inside, he's lined it with a tub liner. This is my choice. This is Dominator. It's a polyurethane. I know a lot of the tradies up here use it. Up here, as in up this part of Australia, it's pretty popular stuff. It's about the hardest wearing surface you can get, you know, so how can you go wrong with that? He's even done, Hylton even did the inside of the tailgate that you can see sitting over there. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the quality of Hylton's paint job. I mean, this was fresh steel, but it had stickers and holes and bits and pieces, you know. We took the little flares off and everything else. So Hylton's gone through, welded, bogged, fixed, shaped, sanded, and come up with a finish that is new, that's just new. And this is still, you know, my roof and metal paint, which really goes to show what happens with a pretty basic product when you give it to a real professional. Look at the quality of the finish. It's just absolutely beautiful. Now, we're hoping to bung the tub on today with a bit of luck, and Dean will obviously be overseeing that because the tub and the canopy stuff like that, that's really his world. His world's kind of broad, but that's what he's bringing to the Milo 2 project. And later on, Hylton's going to come back, bung her up on the hoist and rub a line underneath and underneath the guards as well. That is going to fix one of my longest running problems with Milo, which was just the sheer noise of things hitting underneath when you're scrabbling down a good corrugated rocky road or something. I kind of solved it to a degree by using trailer guards on the rear, took out some of the drumming, but at the end of the day, it's coatings like this that really nail that kind of stuff. Mind you, they didn't have coatings this good when I built Milo. That's my excuse. I know what you're thinking. What is this? Oh, how beautiful. How beautiful is this? This is the exhaust system that Pete built. And then we took it along and got it ceramic coated. Up here on the Sunshine Coast, you've got a guy who pioneered this kind of coating, built all his own gear and everything else, big time into the race world. And when he heard about the Milo project, he offered to help us out with that. But how good is this? This is like a ceramic chrome finish. It went into the jiggle bath to get all polished up, and I've never seen anything that looks that pretty. But it's not just about looking pretty, it's also corrosion resistant, obviously, but the big thing is it'll retain the heat. Now, I know this because I've ceramic coated motorcycle exhaust in the past, or had it done, you know, and the difference is amazing. It goes from burning you to touching, it's warm, but you're not getting burnt. So it's a major difference. Now, that also helps with the performance, of course, because you want an exhaust system to retain heat, to stay hot as far back as it can. That way, the exhaust is getting itself out of there instead of sitting around and cooling down. And that is the bit you're going to see poking out from just behind the passenger seat of the cab. Oh, I could just about play the didgeridoo with this if I could play a didgeridoo. It's beautiful. You would have noticed over the years, I've always been a big fan of sticking the air filter as far away from the engine bay as I can get, usually up on the roof. It's just common sense that thick particulates in dust will settle, you know. So if the thing's up on the roof, first thing I noticed between going from the mudguard, which was the original fitment on Milo, well, the original fitment was under the bonnet, but who wants to stick an air filter down in the dirtiest part of the world? So I had mine up here on the mudguard. The first thing I noticed was I was getting twice the life out of filters by shifting it to the roof. That's because of just the natural settling effect of dust. Plus you have these other advantages. You get cold air up there, you know, and anyone who's driven a diesel at night knows they go really well. There's more oxygen in cold air. So, you know, I'm a roof guy. And this is the Donaldson. I love Donaldsons, made here in Australia. This is the Donaldson that is on mustard, or was on mustard. I pulled it off just so that we could fit it up to this truck because I couldn't get hold of a good one. They still make Donaldsons, but they don't make this size out of steel anymore. And the ones they made, they're great. They're terrific things, but they just weren't going to suit the application I had. But it was while finding that out that I had a really interesting yarn with the engineers down at Donaldson. They obviously know their stuff. This is what they do. The first thing he said was, well, what sort of a motor are you sticking it on? I said, oh, it's a 12HT. It's got a high flow turbo. It's going to spin out a little bit further than most of the engines I've built. You know, this terrain tamer motor is capable, and he worked it all out, of pulling 500 CFM, cubic feet per minute of air, okay, possibly 550 if it's really revving hard, but under power, up a hill, expect it to be in the 400 to 500 CFM range. Now that is an awful lot. So the first thing he said was, well, what you've got to understand is that the piping itself, the length of piping, slows down the airflow considerably. And these air filters, get this, they're only designed to flow about 350 CFM. So straight away, that's not going to do the job. And you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, it's bigger than the standard one. How come the standard one works? Well, guess what? A lot of the times, the standard one doesn't work. The main reason it's doing anything at all is because it's under the bonnet, so it keeps the piping really short. See, there is a reason why manufacturers stick them under the bonnet. And then you go and bung a snorkel on and rack it up to the roof. That's all right for a standard non-turbocharged 2H or, you know, something that's got all the power of a slug. But as soon as you start talking MTQ, high flow turbos, all the rest of it, you've got an engine that's going to suck a lot more air than that little Donaldson can handle, especially when I want it to go that far through piping. Right, now while I'm talking to the engineer, I've also rung a mate of mine who's an engineer down in New South Wales, handles big diesels. He gave me much the same thing. He said, it's just a simple calculation. He gave me the calculation. It wasn't simple at all, but came up with the same numbers as the Donaldson guys. It's all to do with the number of twists, turns, etc. I hate to say this, folks, but nearly everybody out there who's got a turbocharged diesel is possibly running an air filter that's too small if they're using a snorkel, or your snorkel's way too small. But we got an inkling of that when we were down at Terrain Tamer. Remember the new Safari snorkel that they had down at Terrain Tamer? It was bigger, and I thought they've made it bigger so it looks horny. No, they made it bigger because they worked out there should be more airflow too. So, how do I solve my problem? Well, this is it. This is a Donaldson. But this is a 5-inch Donaldson. That one's a 3-inch in terms of intake. And this will flow well over 550 CFM. Actually, it's rated at 550 CFM. So you're sitting there with your V8 turbocharged Land Cruiser thinking, mine's probably going to suck as much as a 12HT. Wonder how big my air filter is. And I'm going to tell you, it's about the size of the end cap on this. It's not really doing the job, is it? Not when it goes on the roof. So this is going to go up on the roof, for the time being anyway. Time being a long time. It looks pretty big, but I can live with it because it's doing the job. There will be no strain at all on this turbo, on this motor, through lack of air. To achieve that, we're going to have to pipe it up real fat. Pete's coming back for that. So it'll probably go, you know, 5-inch, 4-inch, 3-inch sort of thing. But that's all right, because if you think about it, by stepping it out, all we're doing is alleviating the pressure that you get from the pipe. Now, what do you do with a... Well, you've got to get a snorkel to fit, haven't you? Get a load of that. I can't even reach up there, but you get the picture. Whoa. So all I need now really is a set of 44-inch tyres, and it'll balance the whole picture out, won't it? Look, I've learnt so much working on Milo 2, you know, talking to experts, hanging out with people like Richard and Jason and Dean, you know, and the guys at OL on the Sunshine. I've learnt so much just mucking around with this project, building this truck, and that's after a lifetime of learning. So it kind of makes me wonder how many lifetimes you have to learn it all. And now I've learnt something about air filtration. Is it going to work? Yes. Yes, it has to work. There's just no way it cannot work. Will I have it sitting up there forever? I don't know yet. We'll get that far. But for the moment, you're looking at a 12HT that can really suck hard.
Right, you ready? There we go. I just don't trip over the trolleys.
Hey, we're all good.
All right, Rich, duck on your side.
I nearly tripped over the trolley.
Okay.
When you come back, mate, I need you to just go down the side of it.
Whoa, there we go, guys.
Okay, come back towards me.
Back to
Okay,
me.
down, 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 down. All right, towards my side, push it over to me. Yep, there we go.
Whoa, that sounded good. Wow. What next, man? We're going to stick some rubbers under it?
Yes. All right,
Doesn't that look good?
it's looking good.
Hey?
So there we go, all bright and green. So now we're just going to take it and basically fit some conveyor belting rubber underneath the mounting points.
Yep.
Bolt it down on our 4 bolt points, and then we should be done.
4 bolt points, and I noticed there's some heavy duty bolts up here too.
Yeah, we do. We've got high tensile bolts and nuts, nylock nuts as well, so we know that nothing's going to be slipping out. And looking at the back here, to make sure we're resting on the original rubbers in the rear. So we're going to reuse those.
The original rubbers on the tray.
Yeah.
So they're new ones.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey.
And then the new ones in the front as well.
All right, cool. How good's this, eh? How good's this look? Just pure Toyota tin. Cool. Right, what we're doing here, Dean's just bunging in the standard Toyota spare wheel bracket just in the back of the tray, because that's what we're going to do initially until it's been down to Brown Davis and we've got our tanks sorted out in the middle. Then we can start thinking about locating both spares behind the cabin. But in a bit of an interim measure, one spare will go in the back up here. Cool. This Dominator liner is so tough, we've got to re-thread the holes because you can't get bolts in. Beautiful, no worries. Okay, look at this. Back from the tyre service. And yes, I went for Federals. These are the Courageous MTs, which are the tyres I've been testing on Milo. And Milo's done, since we fitted these tyres, Sydney, South Australia, back through the bush. That was a bit of a wet trip. And then we did Darwin and back, and that involved, 8,000 k's of sealed roads, a couple of thousand dirt tracks, and then about 1,000 k's of really wet season mush up around the Adelaide River and all over there. You get to see that one of these days when we finally get that DVD edited. But I really enjoyed the tyres. That's the big news. A little bit noisier than some of the tyres I've used in the past, but they're wearing better, wearing really well. And off-road, the big gaps, they really, really cut a good pattern in the dirt, you know, especially in mud. I mean, they're an awesome mud tyre. I've got no worries with them on the road, and they're cost effective from what I can see. They're really good price. So, one of the things I like about them, get a load of this. See how, you know, the tyre is wide, but the tread pattern itself is not necessarily as wide as the tyre. I kind of like that. It's a bit of a look thing. It means I don't need flares or anything on this truck, at least I hope I don't. Even if I did, I wouldn't put any on. And it's going to just give it a nice, tough, fat look. So, bung those Courageous, the Feds, on these dynamic rims, and I reckon I got a pretty pristine combination. Gee, and to think I was just going to fit some old rusty splitties to her. But she's too good for that, eh? Anyway, go away, because I want to whack these wheels and tyres on. Nothing feels as good as a set of new wheels and tyres, hey? And nothing's going to look as good on Milo too. Oh, like a kid in a candy shop, I am. Let's go. Right, well there you go. The only thing old now is the wheel nuts, and I might change those. The tyres are perfect. They set it off just right, you know, because of the way they come in that little bit. They're right on line with the guards. It looks super fat from in front, super fat from behind. It's just super fat everywhere, just quietly. It's a real buzz. Wow, it's looking good, isn't it? How good is this looking? Oh, buckets of clearance here. The two spares are going to slot in here on top of the fuel tanks and the extra water tank, although the water tank might be up the back yet. You have to go away now. I think I'm going to shout everyone a beer and just kick back and look at the truck for an hour or two, or 5 or something. Go on you guys. Oh, that looks good.